Hello again. Today we're going to talk about Canada's role as a global citizen. And most of the world looks to Canada as a leader, as a role model for human rights and foreign aid and kind of giving back. Now, we know from our previous units that, yeah, Canada's had some issues with human rights in dealing with our First Nations peoples, in rejecting the Jewish boat of refugees in World War II. But for the most part, the world sees us as a model country. And when you take it and you compare it to other countries and the atrocities that happen in other countries, I think that most of us can agree that Canada really does set the standard. And our reputation is also built upon our peacekeeping and peacemaking missions over the years in Bosnia, in Afghanistan, in Cyprus. So Canada is really seen as a leader in this way. Now, to give you an example of the amount of foreign aid that Canada gives, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Now, foreign aid, again, it can be a controversial issue because many people might say, well, why should we be giving foreign aid when we have impoverished people and deficits at home? And I'm not sure how to answer that question. Is there a certain obligation to give to charity as an individual? Is there a certain obligation then to give certain charitable donations as a country or as an organization? Those are questions that I'll leave up to you about whether or not we should continue these contributions. So, I guess you guys were fairly young when the tsunami hit in 2004 in Southeast Asia, and it hit countries like Thailand. But Canada donated $425 million in aid towards tsunami recovery efforts. After the 2010 earthquake in Haiti, our government donated $210 million in aid. And as a part of Haiti's economic recovery plan, Haiti previously had owed Canada $2.3 million in debt. But as a part of this economic recovery plan, Canada forgave that loan and said, don't worry about it, you don't have to pay it, in an effort for Haiti to kickstart their economy again and rebuild. So, I guess in the last couple of weeks, and with WE Day just passing, National WE Day just passing, the Kilburgers have been in the media a little bit. And the Kilburgers of Free the Children or of Me to We suggest that it would take $18 billion to offset world hunger and malnutrition problems. Just $18 billion. I say just, but for comparison's sake, the UN suggests the cost of the Afghan and the Iraqi wars for Canada and the US was $500 billion. So if those figures are correct, Kilburger suggests we could have solved world hunger and malnutrition problems, 10 times over? 50 times over? I'm not good at math. Many times over. I guess it's 25 times over. Yeah, I don't know what that math is. 18 billion to fix it, but spent 500 billion on those two wars. So maybe it's not a money problem, maybe it's a priority problem. On the surface, I think sometimes foreign aid might get in the hands of the wrong people. So we send foreign aid to, let's say, Nigeria. Well, what if it gets in the hands of a corrupt government or militant groups that don't necessarily funnel that money down to the citizens that need it? I think that's a bit of an issue. Now, in 2010, an Angus Reid poll, so they're a fairly respected research group, they said that 61% of Canadians wanted to increase foreign spending and foreign aid. Part of me is a little bit skeptical of that, but that's what their poll said. In, I believe it was 2004, Canada had pledged 0.77% of our GDP, or gross domestic product, towards foreign aid and supporting third world country development. And I could be wrong about this, but Bono from U2, that was the pledge that he was really pushing for. And our Prime Minister in the early part of 2000s was Paul Martin, and Bono and Paul Martin had developed a bit of a friendship, and that was the pledge, 0.77% of our GDP to go to foreign aid. And I guess 0.77% doesn't sound like much. But in reality, I think that was 2004 that pledge was made. As of 2010, Canada is only giving 0.33 of its gross domestic product to foreign aid. So, again, this is something that you have to develop your own theory about what Canada should do in terms of foreign aid. And you have an opportunity to take what's it called, global development courses next year at university. So that's just something that you might want to talk about. I also worry, are we infringing Western culture upon third world cultures when foreign aid is used? What's that cliche? Or you give a man a fish and he eats him for a day, but you teach a man how to fish and he feeds his family for forever. That is way off, but like that, I don't have the exact terms, but that idea kind of resonates with me in terms of foreign aid. And that concludes this mini lecture on Canada's role as a global citizen.